Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele Reiner, were found dead in their Los Angeles home on Sunday.
Of Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner.
On a quiet Sunday afternoon in one of Los Angeles' wealthiest neighborhoods, paramedics walked into a Brentwood home and found a nightmare. A 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman, both dead inside, in what police immediately called an apparent homicide. Within hours, the world learned the names. Legendary director and actor Rob Reiner, 68, and his wife, photographer Michele Reiner. But as Hollywood and Washington paused in shock and grief, the President of the United States did something else. He went online and blamed Reiner's own politics for his murder. This is the story of a brutal family tragedy, a president who weaponized it, and what that tells us about the state of American politics in 2025. On December 14th, 2025, around 3:38 to 3:40 p.m. local time, Los Angeles Fire Department and LAPD units were dispatched to a home in Brentwood after a medical aid or death investigation call. Inside, first responders found two bodies, a 78-year-old man and a 68-year-old woman, later confirmed as Rob Reiner and his wife Michele. Law enforcement sources told multiple outlets the couple appeared to have suffered stab wounds and that investigators were treating the case as an apparent homicide. As shock spread, attention quickly shifted to the couple's 32-year-old son, Nick Reiner. Records from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department show Nick was arrested that same day and is being held on $4 million bail, booked on suspicion of murder. Sources described him as a family member being questioned in connection with the deaths, with law enforcement pointing to a responsible party while still carefully labeling the case as an ongoing investigation. The Reiner family released a short, devastating statement. "It is with profound sorrow that we announce the tragic passing of Michele and Rob Reiner. We are heartbroken by this sudden loss, and we ask for privacy during this unbelievably difficult time." Rob Reiner wasn't just another Hollywood name. He directed some of the most beloved films in modern American culture, from The Princess Bride and Stand By Me to When Harry Met Sally and A Few Good Men, among many others. Hollywood lost a storyteller. A family lost parents. And for a brief moment, it looked like the country might simply mourn. That didn't last long. Within roughly a day of the murders becoming public, President Donald Trump logged onto his social media platform and did what he has done for years, turned a national tragedy into a political weapon. In a post about Reiner, Trump described the director as tortured and struggling, and claimed that his death was the result of the anger he instigated in others because of what Trump called a crippling Trump derangement syndrome. Rob Reiner had been a vocal critic of Trump's presidency, calling him unfit for office and repeatedly attacking his leadership, especially during Trump's earlier term. But law enforcement has given no indication that politics played any role in the murder of Reiner and his wife, instead focusing on their son Nick as the suspect. Despite that, Trump's message essentially suggested that Reiner's opposition to him had somehow brought this fate upon himself, that a man stabbed to death in his own home was, in part, to blame for his own murder because he didn't like the president. When reporters asked whether he stood by his comments, Trump did not back down. In follow-up remarks, he reportedly called Reiner a deranged person and repeated the idea that the director was very bad for our country. This time, the reaction was fierce, and not just from Democrats or Hollywood. Politicians from both parties, along with celebrities and commentators, condemned Trump's remarks as disgusting, vile, and deeply inappropriate. Republican Congressman Mike Lawler wrote that the president's comments were simply wrong and stressed that no one, regardless of political views, should be subjected to violence, calling for empathy instead of blame in the wake of such a brutal crime. Another GOP lawmaker, Congressman Don Bacon, said he would expect that kind of rhetoric from an anonymous internet troll, not from the President of the United States. Democratic voices, including strategist David Axelrod, called the remarks perverse and lamented the complete lack of empathy at a moment of profound grief. Senator Chris Murphy went even further, arguing that Trump had lost it by implying that Rob and Michele Reiner were in some way responsible for their own murder because of their political stance. Analysis pieces pointed out that this is not new territory for Trump. His political brand has long depended on doubling down in the face of outrage, turning every backlash into further proof that he is fighting elites. A strategy that his core supporters often celebrate. But the Reiner case felt different to many Americans. At a time when a family is shattered and Hollywood is in mourning, the president appeared more focused on settling a personal score than offering comfort or unity. All of this is happening against a larger, darker backdrop. The week of the Reiner murders, the United States and its allies were reeling from a string of violent attacks. In Australia, a mass shooting at Sydney's Bondi Beach, targeting a Hanukkah gathering, left around 16 people dead and dozens wounded, in what officials described as a hate-driven, clearly anti-Semitic attack. At Brown University in the US, a shooting during an exam prep class killed at least 2 people and injured several more, sending a campus into chaos and reigniting debates about safety, extremism, and gun laws. In public remarks, Trump condemned the attacks in Australia and at Brown University as terrible situations and offered condolences to the victims. Yet even as he struck a more traditionally presidential tone in those moments, his online posts about Rob Reiner told a very different story, one focused on grievance, not grief. Commentators argue that this split screen, condolences on camera, cruelty on social media, captures the paradox of Trump's political power. For his base, the unfiltered insults feel authentic. For a growing share of the broader public, it signals a leader more obsessed with his enemies than with the pain of ordinary people. The question isn't whether Trump's comments about Rob Reiner were offensive. Even his allies admit they were. The real question is, does any of this still matter politically? History suggests that for Trump, outrage is not a bug, it's a feature. He has repeatedly survived scandals that would have ended most political careers, largely because his supporters interpret attacks on him as attacks on them. But analysts warn that Reiner's murder may be a sign of something else, a president increasingly out of sync with a public exhausted by constant toxicity. At a moment when Americans are looking for reassurance in the face of campus shootings, anti-Semitic violence abroad, and a brutal homicide in a well-known family, Trump's instinct was to settle an old score with a dead critic. With midterms looming in 2026 and another presidential contest on the horizon in 2028, voters may eventually decide they want something different. Not necessarily a change of ideology, but a change of tone. Or they may double down yet again on the politics of permanent combat. Either way, the Reiner case will live in the political memory not only as a Hollywood tragedy, but as another example of how far the country's discourse has drifted from basic human empathy. Lost in all of this is the human story. Rob Reiner was more than a Trump critic, more than a director. He was a son, a husband, a father, and an artist who helped define an era of American film. Michele Singer Reiner was more than the wife of. She was a photographer, a creative partner, and a mother whose life ended violently in the same home she built with Rob. Their son Nick now sits in custody, accused of the unthinkable. A family tragedy that reportedly intersects with long-standing struggles involving addiction and mental health. Whatever the final verdict in court, there is no version of this story that isn't soaked in grief. For the people who loved Rob and Michele, this is not about ideology or derangement syndromes. It's about 2 lives ended violently, a family destroyed, and a community in mourning. So here's the bigger question. When a president uses a murder to score points on a dead rival, is that just politics as usual? or a sign that something in America's moral compass has broken? Let's talk about it. Do you think Trump's comments about Rob Reiner will hurt him politically? Or will they once again energize his base and fade from the headlines? And more importantly, what kind of response do you expect from a president when a family is slaughtered in their own home? Tell your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful and want deeper dives into the intersection of politics, power, and tragedy, especially from a US and geopolitics angle, hit like, share this video, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis. This is New York TV. Thanks for watching, and stay safe, stay informed, and stay critical.